All right, to pull apart some of those issues out of Canberra and, of course, more across the country, let's bring my Wednesday night media panel from Queensland, from the Gold Coast, Sky News Queensland Editor Peter Gleeson, and from Sydney, Radio 2GB broadcaster, Sky News host, of course, terrific fill-in here of Credlin, Chris Smith. Gentlemen, welcome. Chris, again, thank you for holding the fort so well when I got my break. Those latest figures out today from the ABS showing that... Thank you, mate. The economy has grown 0.9%, so just under 1% in the June quarter. That's the third consecutive quarter of growth, and they are good news stories in these times, good news numbers in these times. But this is a bit of a challenge for the government. The macro's not too bad. You know, unemployment's low, the growth is still there. Other countries are headed into recession. We know that's where the US is. But remember when John Howard said a few years back, you know, Australians have never had it so good. And it came back to bite him because while the national numbers were okay, households didn't feel well off at all. And people are really hurting now, aren't they?
Yes, they are. There are similarities between then and now in that GDP and jobs are some of our proudest numbers at the moment. But what people are finding shocking and difficult are the prices they're paying at retail outlets for their mortgage, for bills, etc. Everything seems to be going up. And if you don't change the way you spend or the way you normally spend, if you don't change that, you're going to go backwards big time. And you heard Chalmers say today that prices will continue to increase. So the pinch is being felt. But I love it when the numbers are bad, Peter, and Jim Chalmers will sit there and bash up, look in the rearview mirror and bash up the Morrison government endlessly. But today when he started to talk about 0.9, he didn't take credit for it, but he wasn't bashing up Morrison for it because you can't take credit for what happened in June. You had Albanese on the World Discovery Tour and the rest of the front bench of Labor were trying to get, employed people to get in their office. They had nothing to do with what happened in June. Thank you, Josh Frydenberg.
Absolutely good point, well made there, but I think out there in the real world, they're not focused on the games of Canberra. I mean, they are literally focused on the bills around the kitchen table at the end of the month or whether they can sort of get some clear air. Gleeson, this announcement by the PM today, I think it was a good announcement on the PBS. I think it's hitting the mark where people feel pain. The PBS will be cut in terms of, extra money will go into the PBS, so you'll feel it when you get your script. There'll be a 30% reduction in the price of PBS-only scripts. I played a grab there from the Prime Minister. I want to make the point, though, I talked about childcare, $530,000 you'll now earn under Labor and still get a taxpayer subsidy. I find that absolutely outrageous. And yes, there's help there with the PBS, but I'd love to see the government put everybody over the age of, let's say, 70 on subsidised medicines, because let's not forget about all those self-funded retirees who get bugger all in their old age. They've saved all their life to pay for their retirement. They've paid taxes all their life. I think I'd be dropping the $530 on the childcare and do more for those on fixed incomes.
Great policy. I wish you were PM, Peta Credlin, because it would certainly resonate within the community. If you've paid taxes, all your life, you're entitled.
I try my hardest on this issue, I tell you, so many times.
Yeah, if you're over 70, of course, as you get older, you're going to get sicker and you're going to need that more. Look, a couple of points here. I think the Morrison government, I think the Turnbull government, and I think the Abbott government did a fantastic job when it came to the PBS. Greg Hunt was a terrific health minister. More drugs went onto the PBS under Greg Hunt's watch than any other minister, and I think he did a brilliant job doing that. But the real issue here is not so much what's happening in Canberra, but what's happening in Melbourne, Brisbane and, of course, Perth. They can't run the hospitals. Is there an argument? We'd have to change the constitution. We seem to be having a few referendums coming up. Why wouldn't we bequeath the hospitals back to the Commonwealth? Because they are stuffing it up. The ramping statistics in Queensland, Victoria and WA are absolutely out of control.
That was one of the things on the table after the Coalition won in 2013 with this Federation White Paper. Perhaps one level of government takes back all of the schools. They're sort of stuck between two. And the other level of government takes back all of health. so that you can't have this blame game. I mean, that was right in 2009, saying you'd have a Royal Commission and you'd have a referendum on the hospitals for that very purpose. That fell by the wayside. But I think, Gleeson, you touch a nerve. This is the stuff that people really care about.